I hated childhood though. I hated being a kid. Like because to this day, the worst day of my life ever happened when I was in 5th grade. Like one day, I had fallen in love. You guys were the best looking girl in my class, and so one day I just decided to ask her out. But I didn't ask her out. I wrote her a letter in cursive, quoting Beverly Cleary. Then I sent it to her in the mail. Then I got to school 2 days later to find that letter had just spread through the 5th grade like wildfire. Everybody had read it. Everybody had a favorite part. And from that day on, my new nickname was Ramona Quimby, the book-reading faggot. And I would rather die in a fire than live through that day again. And here's the worst part about that story. That girl and I, we're now friends on Facebook. She just wrote me on Facebook, "Oh my God, how are you? It's been so long." Bitch, give me that letter back. You ruined me. When I was a kid, I was really into older movies, particularly movies from the 1970s. Just like those were my favorites because like there was a certain era and time when like they could do stuff back then that you could not get away with nowadays at all. Like 70s movies. And if you don't believe me, go watch the original Bad News Bears. If you recall, that's about a bunch of 12-year-olds who like almost win their Little League championship, and for doing so well, they are rewarded with beer. I tried to watch that with like my 5-year-old cousin, and like, you know, he was raised on like Pixar movies and Cooperation. And we're watching this scene where Walter Matthau, who is drunk, of course, is driving the team around in an open-top convertible. And my cousin is just full of questions. He's just like, why are they not wearing seatbelts? Why are they using the N-words? And my favorite, why is this movie rated PG? It's because the 70s were awesome. That's why it was rated PG. It's good. Getting older though. And like, do you realize, do you ever catch yourself like doing stuff that your parents did? Like when you were a child, I totally, like the older I get, I'm totally turning into my dad now because like I'm 34 and I can fall asleep like that. Just like, and I remember being a kid, like looking at my old man just passed out on the recliner, thinking like, what the fuck is he sleeping for? It's 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. And now I just realize he was tired of life. And like, I'm married and people are like, well, you should never go to sleep if you're fighting with each other. That's the worst thing you can do, which I understand. I get the rationale. But if my wife and I get into a fight and it's after midnight and 30 seconds of quiet goes by between assaults, I am out. Like the bar is closed. I swear to God, one night we were near a divorce, and the next thing I remember, flying through the air with the X-Men. Just fighting crime. I found Magneto, and I was like, there he is, let's get him. Oh yeah, best dream ever. And then all of a sudden, like, Magneto did something weird. He just looked up at me really calmly, and he goes, so are we going to talk about this, or are you going to be a dick and go to sleep? Oh. I didn't get it. I was like, what? And Wolverine was like, damn, you fucked up, dude. Gonna catch you tomorrow. I'm the first one out of my friends, like all of my group of friends, to get married, so they all have questions. And the number one question is, what is it like to fight when you're married? Like, do you guys fight? I'm like, yeah, of course, we're married. And my best friend said, well, what's it like to get into a fight when you're married? And I thought about it, and I was like, try to think about it like boxing. She's George Foreman, and you're Muhammad Ali. And what you have to do is just sit back on the ropes and just absorb every single one of her verbal jabs and never, ever fight back. And if you do that for long enough, something beautiful will happen. She will start to blame herself for the fight. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that your spirit will get Parkinson's disease. If you're not married tonight, that's what it's like. I learned something more. Like every day I learn something new about myself the older I get. The other day I learned a big lesson. I was doing the dishes, trying to clean them, and then I realized that the sponge that I'm trying to use to clean the dishes is just filthy. Like there's no point in trying to clean anything with this. So I was like, crap, and I got frustrated. I'm looking around under the sink, and then I found a brand new sponge that I didn't know that we had, and I got really excited that I was gonna be able to do the dishes. And that's when I realized I am never gonna be famous. Ever. Ever.